Welcome to CHANAN Academy. In today's class, we are going to discuss about simultaneous linear equation. For us to be able to understand simultaneous linear equation, we have to first understand what an equation is. Then we need to understand what a linear equation is. And then we can define what a simultaneous linear equation is. Okay, so now first let us explain what an equation is. An equation is a mathematical statement that shows that two expressions are equal, and it uses the equal sign. Suppose we have an expression x plus 7. Now this is an expression, and then we have another expression x plus 3. Now for us to compare that these two expressions are equal, we write it this way. It becomes x plus 7 equal x plus 3. Now this entire statement is called an equation. However, sometimes you can also have that x plus 5 is equal to 9. Now this also is an equation. Now take note, the x is the variable and the 5 and the 9 are constant. Okay, all right, so having known this, so now let us talk about what a linear equation is. Now a linear equation is an equation in which the highest power of the variable is 1. What that means is that some other times for equation we can have x squared plus 2 equal to 5. Now you can see that the variable x is having a power raised to 2. So this is not a linear equation. A linear equation, the highest power must be 1. So this type of equation is a linear equation, and this also is a linear equation because the variable has a power of 1. Each of the variable has 1. So if the power of the variable is greater than 1, it is not a linear equation. All right, so now let's go to the next one, which is the simultaneous linear equation, and this is our main focus for this video. The simultaneous linear equation, now if you look at the word simultaneous, it means that they are occurring at the same time or being considered at the same time. We can say that a simultaneous linear equation is an equation that contains same unknown variable and must be solved at the same time. Now take note, they contain the same unknown variable and they must be solved at the same time. So let's take an example. Suppose we have x plus y equal to 3, and then we have another one, x plus 2y equal to 7. Now if we are told that these two equations are simultaneous linear equation, what it tells us that for whatsoever value we have for x in this first equation and whatsoever value we have for y, when we impute that same value in this second equation, say y and then x, same value, the result is still going to give us 7. So we don't solve one equation ignoring the other. We must find the solution that satisfies both equations together. Now take note, if you have a plus y equals 7, and then we have b plus x equal 8. Now these two equations cannot be compared as a simultaneous equation because they do not contain similar variable. All right, so let's move to the method of solving this type of equation. The methods for solving simultaneous linear equation. There are 4 major methods for solving simultaneous linear equation. They are substitution method, elimination method, graphical method, comparison method. Now for most school examination, substitution and elimination method are the focus. All right, so let's talk about the first one, the first method, which is the substitution method. Now the substitution method involves making one variable the subject of one equation and then substituting it into the other equation. Now what that means is, now suppose we have an equation, say x plus y equal 10, and then we have another equation x minus y equal 2. Now for us to be able to use the substitution method, we'll decide which of the variable we are going to make the subject, either in equation 1 or equation 2. So we can decide to label the first one equation 1, and then the second equation equation 2. This way we can easily understand when we say equation 1, we know which equation we are talking about, and when we say equation 2, we know which equation we are also talking about. So we can decide to make the x in equation 1 the subject. Make x the subject in equation 1. So that way we are going to have, if x is the subject in equation 1, we are going to have x equal to y is going to move to the other side, becomes minus y. So this is what we have. Now when we have this, we can then substitute this x that is equal to 10 minus y in equation 2. What that means is that wherever we find x, we replace it with 10 minus y. So we are going to say substitute x equal 10 minus y in equation 2. So wherever we find x, we replace it with 10 minus y. So let's do that. So we have x minus y equal to 2. So we are going to have, so it's x minus y equal to 2. So that means our x becomes 10 minus y in bracket minus y equal to 2. Now when we open the bracket, we're going to have 10 minus y equal to 2. So minus y, we have minus 2y. So it becomes 10 minus 2y equal to 2. When we simplify, we're going to have minus 2y equal to 2 minus 10. And this is going to give us minus 2y equal to minus 8. And now we're going to divide both sides by minus 2. Okay, so we're going to have minus 2y divided by minus 2 is equal to minus 8 divided by minus 2. Therefore, our y is equal to 4. Now we've been able to find the first variable. What we now need to do is to substitute y in our equation. Remember, when we made x the subject, we had x equal to 10 minus y. So therefore, we can substitute y equal to 4 in this equation. So it becomes x equal to 10. Our y is 4, so it becomes minus 4. Therefore, x is equal to 6. So this is what we have as our answer. Now, if we go back to the top to see if our answer suits the equation, let's look at it. X is equal to 6 from the equation 1, and y is equal to 4. So 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. So from the equation 2, s is equal to 6 again, minus 4. 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. So that means our solution is correct. Let's take another example to explain more. Now, suppose we have 4x minus y equals 7, and then we also have x plus 4y equal 23. Now remember, the first thing we need to do is to label each of the equations. So you can decide to call any of the equation 1 and the other equation 2. But mine, I'll call this equation 1. And I'll call this equation 2. And also you can choose which of the variable you want to make the subjects, and from which of the equation you want to make it from. Mine, I'm going to pick equation 1. So from equation 1, to be easier for me to make y the subject of formula. Reason is that the coefficient of y in the equation 1 is actually 1. I won't need to divide anything, so we just go ahead. Alright, so from equation 1, if I make y the subject, I'm going to have minus y equal to 7 minus 4x. So I can decide to multiply through by minus. So then I'm going to have y equal to minus 7 plus 4x. Now let me rearrange the equation. It becomes y equal to 4x minus 7. Now y is equal to 4x minus 7. So I can substitute this y equal to 4x minus 7 in equation 2. Okay, so our equation 2 is x plus 4y equal to 23. So if we substitute that, we are going to have x plus 4 open our bracket 4x minus 7 equal 23. Okay, so we are going to have x plus, if we open the bracket, 4 multiplied by 4x is going to 16x minus 4 multiplied by 7 is 28 equal to 23. Now we are going to have x plus 16x. You're going to have 17x minus 28 equal 23. So 17x is equal to 23 plus 28. Now 17x is equal to 51. Now we are going to divide both sides by 17. Now when we divide both sides by 17, we are going to have 17x divided by 17 equal to 51 divided by 17. And 17 into this, we are going to have 1, so it's x into 17, 1. 17 into this is 3, so we have x is equal to 3. Now that we know that our x is equal to 3, so we can now substitute our x equal 3 into the equation we formed when we made y the subject. So our y was equal to 4x minus 7. So y is equal to 4 multiplied by 3 minus 7. So this becomes y equal to 12 minus 7, and y is equal to 5. So therefore x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 5. So this is how the substitution method is being solved. Okay, so now let's take a look at the next method, which is called the elimination method. Now the elimination method involves adding or subtracting the equations so that one of the variable can be eliminated or taken out. Now this process can be a bit confusing, but if you pay attention you would be able to get it. So let's use an example to actually explain how it works. So if we have an equation, say 2x plus y equal 11, and then we have x plus y equal 7. Now these two equations are simultaneous equations. So let us try to see what we can do to this equation. Now notice that the coefficient of y are the same in both equations. So let's call this equation 1 and this equation 2. Now if you notice that the coefficient of y in equation 1 is 1 and the coefficient of y in equation 2 is also 1. So it means that the both of them are 1. If we subtract them, we'll be able to eliminate y, and we are going to be left with only x. So how are we going to do the subtraction? You take a line like this and subtract. Okay, so 11 minus 7, we are going to have 4. You put your equal to. Y minus y is going to be 0, so we don't need to write anything. 2x minus x, we are going to have x, so we have x. So it means that x is equal to 4. How simple it is, very simple. After solving for the variable x, we can then substitute x equal to 4 in either of the equation, either equation 1 or 2. So let's use equation 2, because we are going to have in equation 2, we have that x plus y is equal 7. And if x is equal 4, so we can say substitute x equal 4 in equation 2. So then we have 4 plus y equals 7, and then we're going to have that y is equal to 7 minus 4, which is going to give us 3. Therefore our x is equal 4 and y is equal 3. So this is how the elimination method works. So let's take another example. Suppose we have 4x minus y equals 7, and then we have x plus 4y equal 23. So let's name this equation 1 and this equation 2. Now you realize that the coefficient for x in equation 1 is 4, and the coefficient for x in equation 2 is 1. The coefficients are not the same. Even for y, they are not the same. So for us to be able to use the elimination method, we have to make their coefficients the same. The coefficient for x in equation 1 is 4. For equation 2, the coefficient for x is 1. Similarly, the coefficient for y in equation 1 is minus 1. And the coefficient for y in equation 2 is 4. So say 1. Now, can you see that? So we have to choose which of the variable we want to eliminate. So if we eliminate 4, what we are going to do from equation 1, we take this 4 to multiply everything in equation 2. So we are going to eliminate x. So we have 4x minus y equal to 7. This is equation 1. And then we have x plus 4y equal 23. And this is equation 2. So let's indicate that. Equation 1, equation 2. Now we are going to multiply with the coefficient of x. So we are going to multiply by 1. So let's put this in brackets. And then we are going to multiply by 4. So let's put this in brackets. Now we're going to have, if we multiply the first equation by 1, we're going to have 4x minus y equals 7. When we do the same for equation 2, to be 4 multiplied by x, we're going to have 4x. 4 multiplied by 4y, we're going to have minus 16y equal to 4 multiplied by 23, we're going to have 92. This first equation will now be 1b, and this will be equation 2b. Now, from this you can see that the coefficient for x in 1b and 2b are the same. So we can subtract. So let us subtract. 4x minus 4x, that's 0. Minus y minus 16y becomes minus 17y, which is equal to, now 7 minus 92 becomes minus 85. Okay, so we are going to divide both sides by minus 17. When we divide both sides by minus 17, okay, now we are going to have that is equal to 5. So now that y is equal to 5, we are going to substitute 5 in any of the equation above. So we are going to substitute y equal to 5 in equation 1. And our equation 1 is 4x minus y equals 7. So if our y is 5, we are going to have 4x minus 5 will be equal to 7. And then 4x equal to 7 plus 5. 4x is equal to 12. Now we're going to divide both sides by 4. Okay, so when we divide both sides by 4, we're going to have 4x over 4 equal to 12 over 4. 4 into this one, 4, 1, and this 3. X is equal to 3. Therefore, x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 5. So this is what we have, and this is how elimination method is being applied. Alright, so let's go to the next method and see how that method is being done. Now the next method we are going to talk about is the graphical method. Now this can be done by sketching the graph of the equation, the two equations, and then determining the coordinate of the point of intersection. Like when you're given two equations, the first thing you need to do is to plot the graphs of this equation, and then you determine the point of intersection. So let's take an example. Let's explain this. Suppose we are given two equations, x plus y equal 6, and then the second equation is x minus y equal 2. Now for us to be able to solve this simultaneous equation using the graphical method, okay, so let's label this one, equation 1, and this equation 2. So what we're going to do, we are going to say from equation 1, when x equal 0. Now if x is equal to 0, we are going to have that y is equal 6. Okay, also when y equals 0, x is equal to 6. So therefore from this coordinate we are going to have that 0, 6, and then we're also going to have 6, 0. So that's from equation 1. Also from equation 2, equation 2 is x minus y equal 2. So when x equals 0, y is going to be equal to minus 2. And when y equals 0, x is going to be 2. We have two coordinates also from here. We have 0, 2, and then we have 2, 0. So therefore the four coordinates we have, so we're going to plot our graphs here. So the four coordinates we have, the first coordinate is 0, 6, and the next one is 6, 0. The next is 0, 2, and then 2, 0. So let's plot our graph These are the coordinates, so we'll try to plot the coordinate now and then check where the line intersects. So when x was 0, y was 6. So this is the first coordinate we have. And then when x was 6, y was 0. So this is the second. So let's try to connect those 2 points. Right? Okay, so that's the first point. Then for the second equation, when x was 0, y was negative 2. Okay, when x was 2, y was 0. So this is the second coordinate. Let us also try to connect these 2 points together. Now we've connected the both of them. So let's try to extend the second line. That's the equation 2 line. So let's try to extend it and see where the 2 lines are going to intersect. So if we extend the line, it's going to be like this. Alright, so let's zoom in to see where the intersect happened. So if this is the point, so we have, so for the intersect, it started from here and it ended in 2 and then down in 4. So therefore we have that the intercept in y-axis is equal to 2. And then for x-axis we have that it intersects at the point 4. So therefore our solution is that y is equal to 2 and then x is equal to 4. This is how the graphical method is being done. Alright. The next method we are going to be discussing is the comparison method. Now the comparison method involves making the same variable the subject in both equation and then comparing the equation. Let's give an example. If we have 2 equations that x plus y equal to 8 and then we have another equation 2x minus y equal to 7. Let's label the first one equation 1 and then the second one equation 2. Now we can decide to make x the subject in equation 1 and equation 2, or we can choose to use y. But in my case, I'm going to use y. Okay, so we are going to have from equation 1 and then from equation. Now if you make y the subject from equation 1, you're going to have y is going to be equal to 8 minus x. Now from equation 2, y is going to be equal to 2x minus 7. Now look at this. Look at the first equation and the second equation. You realize that in the first equation, y is equal to 8 minus x. In the second equation, y is equal to 2x minus 7. So in comparison method, we are going to equate the right-hand side of both equations. So we're going to have 8 minus x will be equal to 2x minus 7. Since the left hand are both the same, look at it, y is the same as y. Now we need to test if this and this are the same. Okay. Now if we simplify this by putting like terms together, we are going to have 8 plus 7 equal to 2x plus x. Now 8 plus 7 is going to give us 15 equal to 2x plus x is going to give us 3x. Now we are going to divide both sides by 3. If you divide both sides by 3, you're going to say 15 divided by 3 is equal to 3x divided by 3. So 3 into this is 1, 3 into this is 5, and 3, 1, 3, 1. So we have x is equal to 5. So our x is equal to 5. Now don't forget, we still have to solve for y. Now let's go back up. Now since our x is equal to 5, now we are going to substitute x equal 5 in both equations. So we are going to have 8 minus 5, and this is going to give us 3. Okay, let's try for the other equation. So we're going to have 2, 5 minus 7. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10 minus 7, and this is also 3. So y is equal to 3 in both equations. So we can come and say, therefore, x is equal 5 and y is equal 3. So this is how we solve the comparison method. All right. Okay, so another thing we need to talk about are equations involving fraction. Now, fractions can make simultaneous equation looks a bit difficult, but the principle remains the same. Let's take an example. If we have 2 equations, x over 2 plus y equals 7, and then we have x minus y equal 2. Now let's name the equation, this equation 1, equation 2. Now in this case, you can see that equation 1 has fraction. So what we need to do is to first eliminate the fraction from equation 1, and for us to do that, we can multiply by the LCM of everything, which means the LCM of this will become 1, 1, so the LCM is 2, so we multiply 2 by 2, and when we do that, we are going to have 2 multiplied by x over 2 plus 2y equal to 14. Now this is going to take out this, so we have x plus 2y equal to 14. This become our equation 1a. So we can work with this equation 1a and equation 2. So for us to do that, we're going to have x minus y equal to 2 as the equation 2. From this point, you can use any of the method we earlier discussed. For this case, I'm going to be using the elimination. Now look at it very well. I want to eliminate the x, so I'm going to subtract. Now when I subtract, I'm going to have 3y equal to 12. Now the 3y came in because plus 2y minus, already we have minus y, 2y plus y, and that's why we have 3y there. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. If we divide this by 3, y will be equal to 4. Now if y is equal to 4, we can easily substitute y in equation 2, and then we're going to have x minus 4 equal to 2. Therefore x is equal to 2 plus 4, which is x is equal to 6. Alright, so our y is 4 and our x is 6. So this is how we solve for equation involving fractions. Let's take one more example. Suppose we have 2 over x minus 3 over y equal 4, and then we also have 4 over x plus 1 over y equal 1, and we are asked to solve these simultaneous equations. Now you can see that the denominators are the variable. Now if you've watched our previous video, we said from one of the indices law, if we have a over x, it is equal to a multiplied by x raised to the power of negative 1. Alright, this knowledge will be used a bit in this simultaneous question. Okay, so now let's take this as the first equation and this as the second equation. Now from the first equation, we can say that we have 2x raised to the power negative 1 minus 3y raised to the power negative 1 equal to 4. Now from the second one, we can also say that 4x raised to the power negative 1 plus y raised to the power negative 1 is equal to 1. From this point, we can make an assumption. We'll say, since from equation 1, let's call this equation 1b and this equation 2b. So we can say let x raised to the power negative 1 equal a. Okay, and then let y raised to the power negative 1 be equal to b. So in that way, we are going to have our new equation. From equation 1b, we are going to have 2a minus 3b equal to 4. And then equation 2, we are going to have 4a plus b equal to 1. We can then call this equation 1c and then equation c. Alright, now this is easy to solve. So we can solve this using any of the method. But however, I'll use substitution for this. So we are going to make b the subject from equation 2c. So alright, so let me make that. So if you make b the subject from equation 2c, you are going to have b equal to 1 minus 4a. And when we substitute that in equation 1c, now when we substitute this in equation 1c, we are going to have 2a minus 3 open the bracket 1 minus 4a equal to 4. Now from this point, we are going to have 2a minus 3 plus 12a equal to 4. Now this is then going to be equal to 2a plus 12a, that will be 14a minus 3 equal to 4. Therefore, we're going to have 14a is equal to 4 plus 3. Therefore, 14a is equal to 7. Now, we're going to divide both sides by 14. Now, if you divide both sides by 14, you're going to have a is going to be equal to 7 over 14. So 7 into this 1, 7 into 14, 2. So a is equal to, a is equal to 1 over 2. Don't forget, when we made b the subject, we had that b is equal to 1 minus 4a. So now we are going to substitute a equal to 1 over 2. So b is equal to 1 minus 4 bracket 1 over 2. Therefore, b is equal to 1 minus, if you open the bracket, you're going to have 2. So therefore, b is equal to minus 1. So our a is equal to 1 over 2 and b is equal to minus 1. So don't forget our assumption from the beginning that we said let x raised to the power negative 1 equal to a and y raised to the power negative 1 equal to b. Now, since x raised to the power negative 1 is the same thing as 1 over x, and y raised to the power negative 1 is also 1 over x, so we can have that 1 over x is equal to a and 1 over y is equal to b. From this point, we can substitute their value and we'll get our value for x and y. So we have that a is 1 over 2, so 1 over x is equal to 1 over 2, and 1 over y is equal to negative 1. So if we cross multiply x for us to have this one, we're going to have, if you cross multiply, you're going to have that x will be equal to 2. And then also, if you cross multiply this, y will be equal to minus 1. So therefore, our x is equal to 2 and our y is equal to minus 1. So that's what we have as our solution. Sometimes simultaneous linear equation can come in word problem, like the one we have before us here. It says 7 years ago the age of a father was 3 times that of his son, but in 6 years time the age of the son will be half of that of his father. Represent the age of the father and the son by x and y respectively. How old is the son? Alright, let's try to understand this question properly. We were told first of all that we should represent the age of the father and the son with x. So let's say the father's age equal to x and the son's age is equal to y. Now, for us to understand this, we need to analyze the question properly. So let's try to analyze it. Say their current age, okay, and then 7 years ago, how old would they be? And the next thing is to say 6 years later. Now, these are the 3 ages we are going to check. We were told that the current age of the father is x, so we say x. Now, if the father is x years today, 7 years ago, he will be x minus 7. And in 6 years, he will be x plus 6. Okay, hope you understand that. And then, if the son is y years today, which is y, in 7 years, he will be y minus 7. And in 6 years, is going to be y plus. So now let's go back to the question. The question says 7 years ago the age of the father was 3 times that of his son. So let's go back. So we are going to say the father was x minus 7, that's 7 years ago. He is 3 times the son's age. So the son 7 years ago was y minus 7. So this is the first thing we were told from the question. So let's go back to read the next line. It says, but in 6 years' time, the age of the son will be half of that of his father. Okay, so now the father in 6 years' time will be x plus 6. However, the son is going to be half of this age, so we are going to say divide by 2, which will be equal to the son's age in 6 years' time will be y plus 6. So these are the two equations we have. Let's call this equation 1 and let's call this equation 2. Now let's try to simplify the equation 1 first before we do the same for the equation 2. So equation 1, we have x minus 7 equal to 3y minus 7. This is going to be equal to x minus 7 equal to 3y minus 21. Now when we take like term, we are going to have minus 7 plus 21 equal to 3y minus x. Now if we simplify this, we are going to have 14 equal to 3y minus x, which is the same thing as 3y minus x equal to 14. So this is our new equation 1b. This is what we'll be working with. So let's simplify the second one. We have x plus 6 over 2 equal to y plus 6. Now let's multiply through by 2. If we multiply through by 2, we're going to have x plus 6 equal to 2y plus 12. Now if we take like term, we are going to have 6 minus 12 equal to 2y minus x. This is then going to be equal to minus 6 equal to 2y minus x, which is the same thing as 2y minus x equal to minus 6. And this is our new equation 2b. So now we are going to solve using equation 1b and equation 2b. So we have equation 1b is 3y minus x equal to 14. And equation 2b is 2y minus x equal to minus 6. At this point, you can use any of the method we discussed earlier, but in this case I'll be using elimination method. So this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. So let's use elimination method and we are going to subtract. So let's subtract. Now 3y minus 2y, we are going to have y. Now look at this. If we have minus x minus x, it is going to become minus x plus x, which is 0. Okay, so this is 0, and then we're going to have equal to 14 minus 6. So this is what we say. 14 minus 6 is going to be 14 plus 6, which is going to give us 20. All right, so the son is 20 years at today. So y is 20. So this is what we are asked to look for. However, let's continue and solve for the father's age. Okay, so if y is 20, we can then impute in equation 1. So if we do that for equation 1, so we are going to have 20 minus x equal to 14, and this should be 60 minus x equal to 14. Therefore 60 minus 14 is equal to x, and this should be 46 equal to x. So x is equal to 46 while y is 20. But however, we are looking for y. This is what we are asked to look for. So the son's age is 20. Well, let's go and confirm if it is true that the son's age is 20 and the father's age is 46. So let's go back to the top. Now, these were the two assumptions we were told, that 7 years ago, the father's age was 3 times the son's age. So let's look at it. The father is 46 at today. Now, minus 7, and this will be 3, 20 minus 7. Okay, 46 minus 7 is 39. So we have 39. Now, 20 minus 7, we have 13. And 13 times 3 is also 39. So the value satisfies the first equation. Let's also check for the second equation. So the father's age is 46 plus 6. And then the son's age is 20 plus 6. Now, 46 plus 6 divides by 2 is 26. So we have 26. And then 20 plus 6 is also 26. So the value also satisfies the second equation. That means the son's age is 20. So we can conclude that the son's age is 20. All right. Okay, before we conclude the video, let me try to tell you some examination tip that can help you while you solve any equation. Now, there are some certain things you do when you see a simultaneous equation. You don't automatically use one method every time. It is not always advisable to use one method every time. First, you have to look at the equation first and ask, which variable can I eliminate or substitute most easily? So if it is easy to eliminate a variable, then use the elimination method. However, if you think it's easier for you to quickly substitute, then use the substitution method. Then if you feel you can easily draw the graph, then fine, use the graph. And then if you want to compare, use the compare. Don't just pick and say, okay, I understand the substitution method, I'm okay with that, I'm not going to learn every other method. It is good for you to learn all the method, because there are some questions that the method you understand may not be easy or handy to use to solve. Okay, and also whenever you're done solving, always try to check your answer. Let's take, for example, if we are given an equation, x minus y equals 7, and then we have y plus x equal 2. Now, this kind of equation looks very tricky. First, you need to arrange and then you eliminate. This type, I would just quickly use substitution. It will be faster and easier for me, because look at this. In equation 1, I can quickly say x is equal to 7 plus y. So in equation 2, I can say y plus 7 plus y equal to 2. Now I have 2y plus 7 equal to 2. If you continue, you are going to have 2y equal to 2 minus 7. Then 2y is equal to minus 5. Therefore, y is equal to minus 5 over 2. Then you can quickly substitute the value into this. And if you do so, let's quickly do that. So we just have x equal to 7 plus minus 5 over 2. Therefore, x is equal to 7 minus 5 over 2. And if you simplify the right hand side, you're going to have x equal to 14 minus 5 over 2. X is equal to 9 over 2. X is equal to 9 over 2, and y is equal to minus 5 over 2. So don't forget to check your answer. That's the second exam tip I'll tell you. Always try to check your answer. You substitute your answer in the main equation to see if it is correct. Now we have solved for y and x. So let's try to substitute our answer if it is correct or wrong. Now we have x to be 9 over 2 and our y to be minus 5 over 2. So we are going to have 9 over 2 minus 5 over 2 equal to 7. So we are going to have that 9, that's for the equation 1, 9 over 2 plus 5 over 2 equals 7. So 9 plus 5, we have 14. 14 divided by 2 is actually 7. So the value we got for x and y satisfies the first equation. Now let's try to see if it will satisfy the second equation. The second equation says y plus x is equal to 2. Now we have our y plus x is equal to 2. Y is minus 5 over 2. Now plus 9 over 2 equal to 2. Now look at this. Since they still have the same denominator, we'll just simplify the numerator. So we have minus 5 plus 9 over 2 is equal to 2. So minus 5 plus 9 is equal to 4 divided by 2 equal to 2. Now 4 divided by 2 is 2 and is equal to 2. Now you see it is correct. So always try to check your answer. Try to be fast when you're solving in an exam. So if you have enough time, you can always try to substitute your answer to double check if you're correct. All right. And the next thing, do not forget to multiply the entire equation. When you are given two equations, 3y plus x equal 9, and then we are given 2y plus 4x equal 5. Now look at this. If you decide to say you want to use elimination method, do not forget that if you want to eliminate y, if you take the coefficient of y in equation 1 and the coefficient of y in equation 2, do not forget to multiply everything. Most students forget to multiply this with the coefficient. For example, you take 2 to multiply the first equation, which is 3y plus x equal 9. 3 multiplied by 2y plus 4x equal 5. Now, most students will only multiply the variable and they will forget the 9. Do not forget to multiply everything. And if you're going to multiply that, you're going to have 6y plus 2x equal to 18. And then if you multiply the other one, you're going to have 6y plus 12x equal to 15. Now, this is how it is done. Most students forget to multiply the right hand. They just multiply only the variable, the x and y, and they think they are done. And the next thing I will tell you is most students stop after finding one variable. If you find one variable, you are not done with the question. You need to find the next one. Some students, after solving for y, they stop. Like the example we did when we were asked to find the son's age. We didn't stop. We had to solve for the father's age too, because if you solve for the son's age and you don't solve for the father's age, you may be wrong, because how do you check if you're correct? You can just stop there because I was asked to solve for the son's age, I'm good. No, if you have time, please do what to check for the other one if you're asked to find the two variable. However, even if you're asked to find one, try to solve for the second to double check and make sure that you're correct. All right. Another tip I'm going to give you is most students mix the equation. Now, they mix equation 1 and 2. Sometimes, now, let's say, for example, look at this now. If we are given an equation, look at this equation. Y plus x is equal to 4. And then y minus x is equal to 3. Now, look at this equation. Most students will say, okay, let me use substitution method. Say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. And if they decide to say, let me make x the subject of formula in equation 1, so it becomes x equal to 4 minus y. And then they will also substitute this in equation 1. It doesn't work like that. If you substitute this same x equal to 4 minus y in equation 1, your answer is going to be wrong. Let's check and see. Look at it. If you substitute it in equation 1, you're going to have y plus 4 minus y equal to 4. Now you see that this is going to be complicated because y is going to cancel out y, and then you'll be left that 4 is equal to 4, which is confusing. Do not mix the equation. Always try to follow. If you make x the subject or y the subject in equation 1, you substitute in equation 2. If you use equation 2, you substitute in equation 1. That is how it is done. All right. Another exam tip I'm going to give you is that whenever you see two equations like, let's say for example, we have 2x plus y equal to 7 plus 3x, and then you have x plus 4y equal to y plus 12. These are two equations and it looks very bulky. What you need to do is to rewrite or simplify the equation so that it will look like a proper equation. You just need to pick the like terms, add or subtract, and then you have a straight equation. Like from the first equation, which is 2x plus y equal to 7 plus 3x. And we'll take like term, we are going to have 2x minus 3x plus y equals 7. And when you simplify this, you're going to have y minus x equals 7. Now you see this equation, you can easily solve with this. And then if you do the same for this equation too, you see that it is easy and swift for you to solve. All right. And then the last tip I'll be giving you for this video is please do not be indecisive, because most students, when they see the question, because they know and understand the 4 methods, start considering which of the methods should I use. Should I use this? Should I use that? And then time is going. They are not deciding which one they want to use. They are just being confused. Okay, if I use the elimination method, it looks too simple. And let me use substitution. So to impress the tutor, to impress the teacher. Of course, you're not impressing anybody. Just make your work clean and clear. And once it is clean and clear, if whoever is going to mark it sees it and it sees all the steps, except otherwise stated that use this method. Any method you use to solve, if it is not stated that use elimination method, if they just give you the question and tell you solve, any method you use to solve, your full mark will be given to you. But once it is stated that use the elimination method, do well to stick with the elimination method. If it is not stated, please make your decision quickly. Which of this am I going to use? Which of the method am I going to use? All right. Thank you for watching the video to this time. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and then share with your friends. Please drop a comment in the comment section to encourage us. Thank you and bye for now.